Welcome to our video series where we are going through a grade 11 November 2024 prac exam, paper 1 for IT or information technology. Please remember that the video description has links to the data files. So download them, give this question a try, and then come back to the rest of the video so you can see where you made your mistakes and where you can improve. Also remember that there'll be links to each individual question for this video, as well as links to the other videos for the other questions. All of that in the video description. So let's get stuck into our third question, which is going to be a question using some functions and text files and a little bit of dynamic objects as well. So if you've done question 1 and 2, you'll realize that this paper has a very much of a Christmas theme. So we're dealing with Santa Claus and software for Santa, and it's not going to change here for question 3, where we're dealing with text files and subprograms. So the program needs to process strings that have the following format. There's a string with a reindeer name, followed by a comma, followed by the feeding time, followed by a comma, followed by the food that the reindeer needs to eat. So there we can see comma to comma, the time, comma, sunrise, sugar beets. That's what the reindeer eats. So the data represents the reindeer comet, and that's the feeding time and so on. So that's what our strings look like that our program is going to interact with. We need to write a function called getName that receives a string parameter in the same format as one of these strings, and returns the name of the reindeer. So that means we just want to return that part, which means everything up until the comma. So for that example, you can see it says Cupid. So for that example, it's Cupid. So we don't know, the reindeer names could be 6 characters. There could be more. So we can't just assume that it's always going to be 6. So let's come to our program. I've got it open over here. We're going to come to the top. Remember, always write your name at the top of your program, and we're going to declare our subprograms here. Function getName, and it receives a string parameter, which is the same format as this. So I'm going to make a sline of type string, and the function's going to return the name of the reindeer, which is going to return a string. So that's the name of the function, that's the parameter that it needs, and that's what it's going to return back. So then we press Ctrl-Shift-C, and now we are at the code for this function over here. We want to get sline, so we are going to assume sline looks something like this string over there. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it into Delphi here so I can see what it looks like. So how do I get the name? Well, we're going to copy from this sline, because that's going to contain the text, starting at position 1, and we're going to copy until the position of the comma. Position of the comma in sline. But we don't want to copy from 1 until 7. We want to copy from 1 until 6. We don't want to copy the comma in the name. So we're going to go to the position of the comma minus 1. And what are we going to do there? We're going to put that and send it back. So that means our result is going to equal to this copying part from 1 to the position of the comma. One line, easy. We could have put it in a variable and then said result equals the final answer. You could do that as well. But because it's one line, I can do it. Result equals copy from sline from 1 until the position of the comma, back up a little 1. There's the name. Next, write a method called foodName. It doesn't tell me if it's a functional procedure that receives a string that's in the same format, very similar to that one, as described, and returns. Now, when they don't tell me if it's a functional procedure and they say the word returns, we know it's a function. So returns the name of the food portion. So we want to return that part now. So how do we do that? Well, let's first create the function. We're going to come here to the top. We're going to write a function called getFood. I think it was called foodName. So not getFood, it's called foodName, which also takes in a string. And we are going to return the name of the food, which is also a string. So there we Control-Shift-C. So we're going to write code. So it's very similar. So now we also know that sline in this function also has the same format. To get that, we actually need to get rid of everything from there and there. So we're going to delete. I don't need to record what is in the name. I'm just going to delete from sline, starting at 1 till the position of the comma in sline. So when I do that, it's going to delete from 1 to the position of the comma. So sline is going to look like that after this line has been done. But that's still not enough. Now I need to delete everything else. So now there's two ways of doing it. I can actually delete from 1 until the position of the comma again. But this is a time. It's always going to be 5 digits. So that's always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The food in this case is always going to start at position 7. So technically, if I want to, I can say result equals copy from sline starting at position 7 until the end of the string. So let's say 100. That should be enough. You could technically do that. You could have also deleted from 1 till comma, and then whatever's left over in S line, return that. There are lots of ways of doing it. But there's always going to be a time in a 5-number format with a comma. So it's always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the food will always start at position 7. I think that will work. So hopefully we can test it later. So I've done my 2 functions. Now, they tell me, only now do they tell me about the text file. So we should not have done anything with the text file up until this point, because here's where they tell me about the text file. So we've got a text file that contains text, and each line is in the same format so we're probably going to use this on the individual lines of the text file. And I've already got the text file open over here as well. On 3.3, we're going to come over here to this one over here. Let's go to 3.3, which is that button over there. So here's the code. We're going to write code over here. So complete the code that displays all the reindeer names and what they are fed from the text file into the rich display. So we are going to go through this text file. We're going to take that line. We're going to take the word comet, and we're going to take the word sunrise. That seems very familiar to what we just did. We've got 2 functions that can give us the name of the reindeer and the name of the food. We don't need to do the whole extraction thing. We can just send the line of the text file to the get name function and the food name function, and we will get what we need. So there we go. So that's it. So we're going to do a text file handling. We're reading from a text file, so straight away we're going to come in. We're going to make a string variable, and we're going to make a text file variable. Now, do they say anything about checking make sure the reading signal does not cause the program to crash if the text file? So we need to do error checking in case the text file is not there. So here we go. If the file exists, and what does the file, it's called feeding times.txt. If that text file does not exist, it means it equals to false. Then we should probably display a message. Go, hey, no file found. And we're going to exit, which means we're going to stop the procedure right there and then. We're not going to do anything more. If we get to this point, that means the text file does exist. Then we're going to go to assign file. Assign file, we assign our text file to this text file called feeding times.txt. So this creates the link between my variable and the actual text file. So from this point on, we're not actually dealing with the actual name of the text file. We're dealing with this variable, my file. Then we're going to reset, which starts it at the very beginning. Reset my file. Then we say while not end of file. My file, and we're going to do a whole bunch of reading each individual line, read line from my file, and we're going to place that line that we've just read into the variable s line. And then once we've finished the while loop and we've done it, we're going to close the file, my file. Always close your text files to make sure that they don't get corrupt or anything. Okay, so that's your algorithm for reading through a text file. If you don't know it, learn it. If you don't understand it, learn it. You can just write it down and you'll get the marks. We are reading from a text file. So what we are doing is every time we get one S line, it's going to look like one of these. When I read line, S line is going to look like this. I want to display, they've done the headings. We're going to display in the rich edit. We're going to display the name of the comment. Now I can go copy from the position of the comma, but I don't need to because I've got a function that does it already. I can just go display get name of S line. Let's just test that for now. Let's just see what that does. Does it display all of the reindeer names? There we go. We've got all of the reindeer names. And then we're going to put a #9 over here. And then we're going to put the food name, which is going to go and fetch the food name from S line. So we're going to give it this line, and it's going to go copy that part of the string and send it back to here, because that's the point to functions. We don't have to write that code. It's done for us. There we go. I think that's perfect. I think it's exactly what we want. So there we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Not stress to press, lemon zest. Remember your algorithm for that. Then 3.4. Complete the code that takes as input a number via the spin edit. So let's come over here. Display. So it's going to take that number. Display animals. So we've already got the input done for us. It's an hour. So that's great. That represents the hour that must be fed. For example, the number 6 represents from 6 to 7, and number 19 represents from 9. So that represents the time. Program must display only the reindeers and what they are fed for those that must be fed during the inputted time. So for example, if we give the number 6, we only want the reindeer that are fed between 6 and 7. So details in the rich must read as shown below. The feeding times is there. So we also displaying the name of the reindeer and the food, but we're only doing it for those that are in that feeding time. Not all hours will have reindeers needing food. So if I come here, you see that if I put the number 6 all of the number 6s will be displayed. So we just want to see if those two characters over there is equal to the number. I'll do 2 because it's possible that we give the word 19 and we must make sure that we get the full number. We've got the hour. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something very similar. We don't need to do error checking because I don't think they mention anything about error checking. We only do error checking if they ask, so I'm not going to do error checking. You can do just to be sure, but I'm literally going to copy this because it's reading from a text file again. It's the same code, reading from a text file. So we're reading from a text file, and then we're going to end, and then we're going to close the file. And because we didn't declare our variables here, we should probably do that. So my file of type text file, and we need an S line of type string. What we need to do is we need to get the hour that the animal was fed. It's a pity we don't have a function for that, but we need to get that value there. So we basically are copying after the position of the comma, and the number is always going to be 2 digits. Because even if we copy the 6, it's fine, it's 06. So we're going to copy the feeding time. Let's make a variable for it. Let's go get our feed hour. So when we get S line, we want to find out the feed hour of that. S feed hour is equal. We're going to copy from S line. Remember, that looks exactly like that. We're going to copy from the position of the comma. So we're going to start at the position of the comma in S line. Actually not. We're not starting at the position of the comma because I don't want to copy the comma. I want to go one after the comma. So the position of the comma plus 1, I'm going to copy for 2 characters. That's going to give me that number or that number or that number. Okay, but the problem is that copy returns a string and feed hour is a number. And the reason why I wanted a number because our hour is a number. So we need to compare it to an integer. So I'm going to convert this from a string to an int. So now I've got the hour that they are fed. Now if that hour matches the hour that we are looking at, if our feed hour is the same as the hour that they want, it is a 6 over there and they asked for the 6th hour. Then we have the animals that we want to display. Then we want to display in the memo control. Oh, we want to display exactly the same as this. I'm literally going to copy and paste this because we're going to go get the name and we're going to find the food name from S line. It's exactly the same thing. We're going to do the same display. We're going to display the name based on S line and the food based on S line. It's literally the same code almost. We're only really adding that and that. That's it. So let's run it and see. So we want all the foods fed between 6 and 7. There we go. I think that matches what we've got. Yes, that does. And if we go to, for example, 19, those are the animals that's fed. But if I go to 20, remember 19 was the last feed. No, there should be no animals. There we go. There are no animals after 8 o'clock. It's past their bedtime. Okay, so there we go. That's 3.4. That's done. And then we're going to move on now to 3.5. We've got, I think, 2 more questions. That's great. 3.5. Complete the code for the combo box for the reindeer. Let's come over here. We're going to see there's a reindeer combo box. There it is. Combo box reindeer. So are we writing the code for it? So the code is on the combo box. So when we, so here we go. So when we change the combo box, then this code must change. So what are we doing when we change that code? When we click on the combo box, so we double click on it to get to it, there we go. That adds an image component to the form as a dynamic object. So we add in an image. The name of the image must be loaded to the TImage dynamic component. They tell me that I'm okay. Let's first get the dimensions right. Let's go get the first part. So I think, is there been an image? There's already an image declared for us globally. So we're going to use that one. Okay, so we're going to use that one. So we're going to create this image. IMG profile. Now we've got to create it first. Now .create is wrong. This is the only time we don't say .create. We say equals to what it is, a TImage .create. And then who is the owner, which is the form, which is going to be this form Q question 3, I think will be the owner of it, because it's going to be on the form. And you can see if you click on the form, you can see the name of the form. So it's going to be on the form. I'm assuming it's going to go over there. They say the left is that value and the top that and the width is that and the height is that. So now that we've got it created, we've breathed life into this. Now we can change its properties. So you can say image profile dot left and dot top and that. So I'm going to go do that so long. So I've gone and done those dimensions already, and then they want me to give the image, it says the name of the image must be loaded into it. That's based on the name of the range. So for example, if the combo box, depending on the combo box, so depending on which combo box option we select, so if we select the name of the combo box, let's say it's Blitzen. So if I run it, you'll see here, I can select one of the combo box names. Whichever name we select from that combo box. So I'm going to get the name of the reindeer. So I'm going to actually make a variable called s name of type string, which is going to be the name of the reindeer. And we're going to get it from the combo box dot text. So that's going to tell me which reindeer name they're using. We must now load that picture into it. So we can say dot picture dot load from file. I'm assuming that it's in the same folder. So it's going to be the name of the reindeer from the combo box, and then we must put a JPG at the end. Okay, so we're going to say whatever S name is, because that'll be Blitzen or Rudolph or whatever, and then we're going to add a .jpg at the end. And there we go. So it's going to load that. And then they also say ensure the whole image can be seen inside. Oh, that means that the picture must be stretched inside of it. So we're going to set the stretch property to true. Okay, so we're going to set the dimensions. We're going to load the picture from the combo box with the .jpg in and set it to true. But remember, there's one property that they never mentioned that we must do. And we must make sure that our dynamic object has a parent. In this case, our parent is going to be the form that it is on. So there we go. So when we select from the combo box, it creates the image, sets those dimensions, and gives the name from the combo box .jpg as the picture to load. If I run it, let's see if that works. So I'm going to pick who we're going to pick. Let's pick Donna. Hey, and there's a picture that's been loaded. So if I pick a different reindeer now, let's say I do Rudolph, there's a different image. So it should work for all of them. And you can see over here all the different images of our different reindeer. That's awesome. Okay, so that's how we load the dynamic object of the image. 8 marks. Complete the code for BTN36 that takes as input the name of the reindeer via the combo box. So the button now is going to take the name of the reindeer. So we double click on this button over here. It needs to get the name of the reindeer. So I'm actually just going to copy this name of the reindeer. Just add it to this. I'm going to say make that variable s name of type string. So get the name of the reindeer. That part's easy. Done. Complete the code that takes as input the name of the reindeer and adds a new line to the current feeding times using the input of the name of the reindeer, the current time, and we want the text biscuit to be added to the food. So we want another record in the text file to have the name with the current time and the word biscuit. Okay, so let's try to see if we can do that. So we're going to construct a string. So let's make our sline string and let's go and test a bit here. We're going to say sline is equal to the name of the reindeer. We must make it in the same format. If I'm correct, they say ensure that it has the same format. So remember, we want reindeer name, then a comma. So we're going to put a comma. Then we're going to put the time. So for now, let's just put in some random text like that, just so we can test that it works. And then we're going to put another comma. And then we're going to put in the word, the food. Well, this one, it says we are giving them a biscuit. This button is to give them a biscuit. So we want the text biscuit to be added. Okay, so that's what the line must look like. Obviously the time's wrong, but let's just do that. So we must add that to the text file, which means we need to create a variable called myFile because we add into the text file. It is here. We must add this to the feeding times text file. So we're going to add, so we're going to then do that. We're going to then say assign file. It's actually very similar to what we did over here. We're going to assign the file, but we're not resetting it because we're writing to the text file. Now they say we can add to the current feeding time text file. So because it's current, that means we don't need to create it again, which means we're not rewriting, we're just appending, we're just adding on. We're going to append. Remember, you can either reset when you read, or you can append when you add it on, or you can rewrite when you're creating a brand new text file. So we add in onto the myFile text file, we add in, or we just put it into that state, that's it. And then we are writing a new line to myFile. And that line is this line that we've created. MyFile is not a string, as long as it's a text file. Why did I make it that? There we go, that's a bit better. And then we must close the file, especially when you are writing to a text file. You must close, otherwise it doesn't work. So let's just test that. So if we run it, we pick Rudolph, and we're going to give them a biscuit. Feeding times updated. So if I come here to the feeding times, it's already told me that we must reload feeding times. So if I come here, there we can see it's been added. I'm going to close that for now. So what I want to do now is you'll notice there is a restore text file button. So I want to restore text file, which means I think the text file is back to normal. If I open up the text file, there we go. That last one's gone. Okay, so let's go try it again. Now we don't want that time. We want to get the current time. The current time is we use date. That's the current time. That'll give me the current time that's there. But we want to convert that from a time to a string. So we do that. So convert it from a type string to make this whole string fit. Let's try that. Errors, because our project is still running, so that's a problem. So we're going to click OK, and it runs again. So we're going to pick a new one. Let's go give Dancer a 1. Ooh, Dancer, let's go. Let's give them the biscuit. Added one. Okay, that's great. Let's refresh this. Let's go look. So I did add it. However, do you notice it's not in the same format? So the format is incorrect, but I did put the correct time. Why is Mr. Long doing this video at 12 past midnight? Oh, that's because this is when it's quiet. Okay, so let's go over here. Let's go. We're going to reset now. So we don't want to do that, rather. We want to actually format date time, the format date time function. We're going to format this into, and we can put the text HH:MM like that. So if we put it in that format, the time will be hour minimum with a little dash. So that converts it into the format that we want. So let's try that now. Okay, so we're going to restore the text file just to get rid of whatever was in it. And let's pick Cupid, give Cupid a biscuit, update. We're going to come here. Yes, there you can see it's added and the time and the format is correct. So there we go. I think that is correct. I think that's all done. How cool is that? So there we go. We've managed our reindeers. We're going to go. Always remember to save all regularly, not like I did. Save regularly in between each question so that if something goes wrong, you've still got your questions. But there we go. We end of the text file question and functions question as well, and dynamic object question. All three in this question. Fantastic. Let's go to the last one now. If you found this video useful, then share it with your friends so we can help them as well. Tell them to join at Mr. Long IT and Cat on YouTube, as well as at Mr. Long Computer Terms on the other channel, as well as TikTok at Mr. Long Education. And remember, don't do it the long way, do it the Mr. Long way.